You build it and they profit. You're renting it, yet they own it. And you give your life and they're living the life. Is that really what you signed up for? Good morning, folks. Josh Zeppis here, freedom fighter and creator with Broke is No Joke, the movement towards true freedom. And we're going to talk about something very near and dear to my heart today, and it's about corporate America, one of the greatest pyramid schemes ever. And by the way, this is very near and dear because I was there. I was there for 20 years. I was in corporate America, climbing the ladder, doing what I was supposed to do. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Go to school, get some degrees, get that safe, secure job, and that's the secret to life. That's happiness. That's the American dream. Well, guess what, folks? Maybe it used to be, but times are changing. And as we step back, we can look at corporate America. I want you guys to look at something here. I want you to let's just imagine with me. Think about your job. Think about your career. Let me see if I can sum it up here really quick. So we get up in the morning, usually with an alarm clock because we don't really want to wake up, but we have to. We're in a rush, get the kids ready, get school ready, all that kind of stuff going on. The dog's screaming, the cat's throwing up, everything's happening, and you're just rush, all so you can get in the car and sit in traffic. And you sit in traffic for anywhere from half an hour, 2 hours, depends, maybe you're in LA, 4 hours on your way to work. You get to work, you sit in the cubicle. So you sit in the car, then you sit in the cubicle. Then maybe you eat something called lunch, and then you go back and you sit in the cubicle. And then you go home, probably in some more traffic. And then when you get home, you complain about your day to your spouse or to anyone who's willing to listen. You eat something again, and then you go to bed. And then you do it all over again the next day, and over and over. And you do it for 40 years. And if you do it well, and you're lucky, you get to one day after you're broken spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally completely broken, then if you're lucky, you get to enjoy life. Is that really what this is about? Does that sound great to you? Now, I don't mean to be apocalyptic. I'm not trying to be like, the end is near kind of thing. But it's important if you think this is the vehicle that's going to work for you, if this is what you were told, maybe it's worth taking a step back and really understanding what you're into. And that's what I had to do. So by the way, I'm a corporate America escapee, and I'm proud of it, and it's one of the best decisions I ever made. So let's take a look how corporate America is just like a pyramid scheme. And let's get to that understanding level, and then we'll talk about some ways to maybe get out of it, all right? So first of all, in corporate America, you do most of the work, right? Unless you're in the C-suite, unless you're up near the top, you're doing the work, but the people above you are the ones that are profiting, right? And here's the thing. I hear people use terms like, well, my company this, and my company that. First off, let's just have a reality check here. It's not your company. It's your employer, right? You're not building your future. And it's funny because people hear the word pyramid scheme quite often in various aspects. And I always ask them, you like the ones in Egypt, right? But if you think about it, how it worked in Egypt. The workers built the pyramids for the pharaohs, right? The workers who did all the work, they didn't get to go into the pyramid. They weren't the ones that got to be buried there and keep their treasure there. It was the pharaohs. So, but people say like, well, but my company pays me. Or your employer pays you, right? Well, of course they do. What good is a slave if they're dead? So of course corporate America is going to pay you just enough to stay alive. They have to. That's called a good business decision. They have to do that. So of course you're going to get paid. But you're not going to get paid enough to thrive. You're not going to get paid enough to build something for yourself. You're not going to get paid enough to have true freedom, but you are going to get to survive. Because how are we going to use you for 40 years in corporate America if you're dead? Does that make sense? So it's okay not to have any ownership and be building something for someone else, but just be aware of it. Now, another thing, as you get higher in the chain in corporate America, you get paid a lot more. So you end up doing a lot less physical labor and it becomes more strategic, but you're also at the bottom of the chain, you're not getting paid what you're worth. So there's this weird imbalance where as you get closer to the top, you start getting paid arguably more than you're worth. And by the way, I'm not saying you shouldn't get paid. You shouldn't try and make as much money as you can. If you're one of those C-suite folks like I was, go for it. Go ahead and do that. That's cool. But you're probably being overpaid for what you're doing, which also means that the people below you, the ones that are on the ground, boots on the ground, the salespeople, the HR, the factory line, all that kind of stuff, you're probably being paid less than you're worth. And I can actually prove that mathematically. I'm not going to do that on this video, but that is actually the case. And you can see that in one of my other articles. I talk about that. And then the truest way, to be honest, that corporate America is just like a pyramid scheme. Look at the shape, right? If nothing else, look at the shape of corporate America. Is it not this? Isn't there just one CEO, and then there's a few VPs, and then a few more directors, and then a few more middle managers, and then you get to the workers, right? Isn't that interesting? So the higher up you want to go, you're like, well, Josh, if I work hard, if I do the right thing, I get more degrees, and I really show the people, I show my boss that I'm really doing, I'm towing the company line. Isn't that going to guarantee me some promotion? Isn't that going to give me a chance to get higher? Maybe, maybe not. Here's where I really differ from the principles of corporate America. Corporate America, and please listen very carefully, is unnatural. It's unnatural. So it's not the harder you work, the more you get paid, necessarily. The harder you work just might mean the harder you work, which is my case when I was in corporate America. I just kept working harder and harder, and it was like, yeah, I wasn't getting paid that much more. So there wasn't that correlation there. By the way, how do you expect to win in the natural world practicing an unnatural way of life? Just let that sink in for a second. So here it is. We're in a corporate America structure where the higher you go, the less the opportunity becomes, right? The less opportunity you will have. And by the way, it's not just you, it's you and everyone else vying for that top 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 positions. So what are the chances that the hardest working person might be the janitor? The hardest working person in corporate America might be the HR lady. What is their chance of actually making it to the top, of getting paid what they need to get paid so they can have the life that they want, right? Not very good. So what can you do about it? I love talking about the escape. In fact, I have a program coming up in October. And if you want to learn more, I would check out, I'm doing a free live online talk in September. Go to ratraceescape.org and you will find more information on that. Like I said, it's free, but I'm going to talk about the escape. And here's just a couple of small, quick little details. First thing you got to do if you want to get out of corporate America is change your mindset. Completely change your mindset. You are no longer an employee. I need you to get out of that thought, out of that thinking. The employee mindset will kill you. It will keep you down. It'll keep you caged in the rat race, which is what we call it. So I need you to change your mindset. You're no longer an employee, but you're now an apprentice. I want you to think of what you're doing right now as building skills for the future, but for your future, not for someone else's. So that's the first step. Then you got to determine what you're going to do. So if I gave you the key to your cage right now and you exited the rat race, what are you going to do? Because now it's up to you. Now you can go out there, you can succeed or you can fail. So what is your purpose in life? How do you monetize those passions? What are you going to do? If you got paid in happiness, what would that be? What would you be doing? And then you got to start something on the side. So once you know the door is unlocked to your cage, you know what you need to do and how you're going to do it, now you got to start it, right? And start it on the side. Don't quit your job, please. I don't want to get any comments. I know I'm going to get a lot of comments on this email or on this video. I don't want any comments about I quit my job and now I'm screwed. No, don't quit your job. Don't quit going to school. Don't quit all the things that you're doing, even though your job's going to quit you here pretty soon. But what I want you to start doing is building something on the side so that at one point when you're ready, you can actually transition out of corporate America and into your passion, into the rest of an amazing life, if that makes sense. Okay, and the last thing is you got to set a date. I want you to dream again, guys. I want you to have that vision back. I want you to set a date. I want to call it your freedom date. What date are you going to go and fire your boss? When are you going to fire your boss? By the way, how good would that feel? And I don't mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying your boss is a bad person necessarily. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But how awesome would it feel? I remember the day I fired my boss. I sat down. I wasn't even living in the same city. I was all the way across the country. So I flew all the way cross country. I sat down with my boss, Alex. I said, Alex, you got 3 months to find my replacement. And he's looking around and he didn't say anything. He's like, are you serious? He probably thought I was punking him. He's looking for cameras. Like, he didn't know what to say. And so I don't even think he thought I was serious, because they never hired my replacement until after I left. So it was very interesting. But what's your freedom date? I want you to dream again. I want you to get giddy. I want you to be thinking of that freedom date like, man, it's going to happen. So the good news is, guys, that there is an escape hatch. There is a way out. I promise. If you want to check out ratraceescape.org, go for it. But do you agree with what I'm talking about here with corporate America? Did anything I say surprise you? Leave some comments below. Shoot me an email, josh@brokeisnojoke.org. In fact, go to brokeisnojoke.org. Check out some of the tools, the content, all the free stuff we got going on. I just want to help as many people become the person they were meant to become. I want freedom. That's my goal. Freedom for everyone. And you know what happens when we're free? All the stress, all the bad stress at least, goes away. All the hatred, the anger, the strife, all those things that we struggle with as a country right now, it goes away, guys. And we win together. And that's the idea. So, love to hear your thoughts again. Leave some comments, like this video, all that good stuff. You know what to do. Subscribe to the channel, all that stuff. And I appreciate every single one of you. And I promise I will meet you at the top. I want to see you there with me, because the bottom, guys, is just way, way too crowded. Take care. God bless. Love you all.